Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and a little news on Doctor Who The Collection Range. Lee Binding has once again given us a little sneak peek at the next set by posting a swatch that showed the predominant colors this time that is going to be on the cover art for the next set. He did this with Season 9, releasing a little swatch of purple, showing us that the next set was going to be predominantly purple. Now he has done that again for the next set, but it's two colors this time. The swatch out on one side, it is a purplish color, very similar to kind of this, a little darker, you know, kind of like that. I think to get some people thinking maybe that season. And then the other side has a very light blue, like a sky blue kind of. So it looks like this is going to be another season with two colors predominantly on the cover, like we've seen with Season 10 and Season 8. Season 14, 17 had multiples. And the colors have a very 80s look to them. They really do look like they would fit on, like, say, Season 25, that kind of magenta, purplish, pinkish color with that light blue. They do kind of have, immediately the 80s spring to my mind. I would not have thought of these colors for Season 20, which, I mean, it's got my brain turning. Like, when he revealed the color patch for Season 9, I immediately thought Season 9, because I associate purple with that season. But with the 80s, it's a little harder. They're a little more abstract. And it makes sense for us to get an 80s set next, unless they do a Troughton. We'll get back to that. But I could see Season 25, the kind of pinkish color, of course, makes me think of Happiness Patrol. And that blue and that pink seem like they would go with Season 25 really well. And it's been 2 years since we got Season 24. They might think it's an easy one to turn out, because I think we got that in summer of 2021. So they might decide to go ahead and put 25 out, especially considering this is an anniversary year and that was an anniversary season. The colors would work for it, especially the pink. It makes me think of Happiness Patrol right off. And Season 20, though, I wouldn't have thought for these colors. Like Season 20, I really pictured having a green coloring for the Emerald Anniversary, or more of a gold look like the DVD special edition cover had. But then again, the 70s box sets and the 80s box sets seem to take a very different approach. Like, for the 60s box set we've got so far with Hartnell, we got the Howlaround effect, like from the intro. Kind of a more basic look, which works for the 60s. I'm really curious to see a Troughton set. Now, the 70s sets also tend to either evolve things from their intro, very, very closely lifted from the source intro, or stuff from the story. Like, for instance, for Season 8, we had the kind of the inside of the Axon ship, so pulled directly from the story, whereas 9 and 10 kind of mimic Pertwee's intro, his original intro, both of those kind of it fading from that into that. Of course, Tom Baker, the Season 12 one, is his intro. His background is basically his intro. The colors even match up, the gray of the box with the silver of his intro. Now, Season 14, we have the tunnel in the sewer tunnel where the rat is, which is a great way to do a tunnel effect behind him, but it actually pulls from a story. So that one, like the Season 8 one, pulls from a story. Season 17 also pulls from a story, with it having the time travel machine effect right here on it. So a lot of the 60s and 70s ones either pull from the intro very directly, or they pull from a story. The 80s are different, though. The 80s are more abstract. Now, they all seem to pull from the 80s intros, but there's a lot of embellishment going on with them. There's a lot added to them to really make them pop. Excuse me. And I have to remember that Tom Baker's final season is an 80s season. Even that has that. Now, it does pull a little bit from the story, because you can see it fading out from the entropy effect here. But for the most part, it just looks like kind of the Starfield intro. And that's pretty much what all of the 80s ones have gone for, to one degree or another, the Starfield intro. Even this kind of looks like Colin Baker's intro, with the way it does at the peripheral of it, with that little glowing. All of these to one degree or another. And I could see those colors going really well with that kind of space background intro that the 80s sets have all gone for so far. Whereas I don't know if green or gold would have worked with that. So while my initial thought is these colors don't strike me as season 20, because they don't. I would not have thought season 20 box set, pinkish purple and blue. Realizing what the 80s sets have gone for, I think that more green I'm picturing for it would fit better on like a 70s season or a 60s season, because those are done, it seems like, in a different nature. Where they pull more literally from the intro, or they pull from a particular story in that season. The 80s ones feel more like an 80s intro if it was done today with embellishments made. And I really think that purple or that pinkish color and that blue, one, I think those colors complement each other really well. I love, in Star Wars games, I love dual wielding like a purple lightsaber and a blue lightsaber. I think blue and a pinkish purple go together really well. So while I don't picture that for season 20, I think it would work, especially if you're going for something grand and epic that's eye-catching. I think blue and pinkish purple would work. So it could very well be the season 20 set. All of the tweets still seem to point to season 20. I know Chris Chapman mentioned he had signed off recently on a documentary he had been working on like 4 years ago, which makes sense for season 20, since we know stuff for season 20 was done, some of it was done a while back before COVID got bad and everything got shuffled around. Things point to season 20 coming soon. Now, there is the possibility, which I've spoken before on the channel, that what if season 20 isn't the next set? What if it's the third set this year? What if they release something between now and 20? Like 9 something and then 20. 20 might hit around November or December, right around time for, say, 5 Doctors anniversary, because that was in November of '83. That would kind of make sense. So we could get a set maybe in the middle. The colors definitely make me think of an 80s set, but if it wasn't an 80s set, the only other 2 sets that make sense to me are 16, because that pinkish purple color does look a lot like the Key to Time. That does look like a Key to Time. And while I would expect the season 16 set to be more predominantly that color, like season 9 is predominantly purple, I would expect that season to be predominantly the Key to Time color, kind of like the UK limited edition DVD packaging is. I wouldn't expect the secondary color to be in it much, but Lee has really been embellishing the arts a lot more. I think ever since 22, like they're more saturated. You know, the background colors pop more. Season 22, season 2, and season 9. They're not as blended into the background where the gray of the box really bleeds through. They're much more saturated in color now. So he might be trying to make them look more intricate. So I could see season 16 being possible. Plus, I could see them doing, you know, a 3rd Doctor set, 4th Doctor set, 5th Doctor set, 3, 4, 5. Possible. So I could see season 16. That purplish color definitely looks Key to Time color to me. Possibility. I also think on an outside chance, and I've talked about this before, and I have an upcoming video where I discuss this. I have been doing a series lately where I talk about how I would do the different upcoming box sets if I was the one creating the art and the colors I would choose and all that. I've already released the season 16 one. I think the season 7 one comes out tomorrow. I've also recorded a season 6 one. And in that video, I talk about how I think the perfect colors for season 6 would be like a purple, a magenta, a pinkish, or a bluish color. Something on that blue to purple scale, magenta, violet, up in there, I think fits season 6 perfectly. And so if you give me, you know, a cover that's got blue and a pinkish purplish color on it together, like a magenta, screams at season 6 to me. And I would love to see season 6 in those colors. I think season 6 would look perfect. And plus, I really want a Troughton set. I want to have Troughton on the shelf. I'm sure a lot of us do. So if I had to call it, I would say season 6, season 16, season 20, or season 25. Season 6 is an outside chance. That's the one I think is least likely. Season 16, again, I would have expected to be more predominantly just the Key to Time color. So that could be a red herring Lee's doing just to get us, you know, like kicking over the anthill. I would assume the next set would be an 80s set. And since it's only 20 or 21 or 25, and I don't think they would do 21 before 20, that just doesn't make sense to me when we know they've been working on 20 for a long time. it makes sense it would either be 20 or 25. The colors to me scream 25. Like honestly, just that those two colors, that light blue, that sky cyan blue, just screams season 25 to me. So that's what I expect. We'll still get season 20. It's just going to look way different than I ever thought with those colors. But I still think those colors would look good on it. My imagination really, really paints a good cover for season 20 with those colors. And I definitely think it's going to be one where, like, maybe this part is mostly one color and then the logo will be a different color. Like if most of the art is more of a purplish, the logo will be in that blue. Or if most of the background is blue, the logo will be in that purple. I'm really looking forward to it, though. I always love when Lee drops little hints at us. Hopefully that means we'll get an announcement soon. I can't remember how far it was between us getting the original hint for season 9 and season 9 actually getting announced. So hopefully that means we'll get an announcement sometime this month. I'm expecting one sometime this month. So, what do you think of all of this? What season do you think these colors represent? And which one would you like it to be? Comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. That helps me out, and I certainly appreciate it. I am over 900 subscribers now, and I am trying to reach 1,000 this year, so I certainly appreciate it if you enjoy my content. I also have a Patreon if you would like to contribute to that. There's a link to that down in the description below. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, Finn Perkins, and Unknown289. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. My P.O. box is down there as well if there's anything you would like to send me, as is a link to my Amazon wish list. Most importantly, thank you for watching.